It's so we have more kids in these myopia management products, the ophthalmic lenses, but Gary's right. They get fitted, and most of my colleagues are pretty good with the follow-up. And if there's a problem, they'll fix it, and if they can't fix it, they'll refer to a colleague that can. Unfortunately, a lot of kids don't get the follow-up care, right? Like we even haven't had the conversation of Big Box, which is a huge player with them in the myopic ophthalmic lens business. They just dispense the glasses and gone, and no follow-up whatsoever. Another challenge you guys are going to have very, very quickly. It's going to be quite. Your margins are going to be healthy in the beginning for the first 2 years. Then it's going to be a race to the bottom. And it's not you guys causing it, it's Big Box that does it. And in Canada, one of the major lines has teamed up with Costco. And Costco now sells myopia management lenses that are Health Canada approved at my cost. I get them in for what Costco sells it for. And that's a tough nut to crack, right? So, but the first 2 years are great, right? I had bundle pricing, and I was the only game in town, and you had to buy from me, right? Or you buy from my colleague down the street. It was the same price. So that's something, if you could look in that crystal ball 1 or 2 years from now, you're going to have to deal with that. And, we deal with it right now in our dispensaries with regular glasses and regular contacts. So it's not going to be anything new for us, but it's something that is going to happen. There's a silver lining to this story. It's not all gloom and doom. So I'm going to tell you what I see. So when we had that, and, it was actually Hoya that made that decision. I wrote probably the meanest letter that I could write, being a nice guy, to my rep saying, I'm not going to do your lens ever again. But you couldn't help it. They're the gorilla. They were the first ones out of the gate. So they were the dominant player. They are the dominant player in Canada, and they have the most robust research behind them, 8 years of evidence, et cetera, et cetera. What we started seeing is a shift where patients were purchasing from Costco, not necessarily our patients, but patients were purchasing from Costco. And we started to see these families start to come into our office, new patients to the office, maybe patients we lost over a couple of years. And the reason why they were coming in is because the myopia wasn't being controlled. It was still getting worse, even though the child was wearing these glasses. And Matt, I'll tell you, they all come in and they're wearing the glasses on their bridge, basically, because there was no follow-up tightening the frame. There was no follow-up making sure that, everything was working properly, compliance in terms of wearing, visual hygiene. Of course, Big Box doesn't do stuff like that, or most of them don't do stuff like that. So it's going to fall apart. Just because you have a great product, if you don't use it properly, it's not going to work, right? So we started actually getting more patients in the office because their product they bought elsewhere just wasn't working. And maybe we did keep them in spectacles. Maybe we converted them to Ortho-K. I think a lot I converted to Ortho-K, but regardless, that awareness and education, if they didn't go to Costco and purchase those glasses, I don't think they would have found me.
If you're interested in getting the rest of the episode, consider becoming a paid supporter of the Myopia Mindset. In addition to an extended version of this episode and every other episode that we do, you'll also get access to exclusive monthly bonus episodes of the Myopia Mindset. And I know you're interested. You've made it this far. You can do so on our Substack, myopiamindset.substack.com. I'll see you at the next one.